Three, two, one. Here we are.
Doom Nation, we're back. Welcome back. It's level 12, December 1st, man. And as always, thank you guys for following us and listening to us. Make sure you press that subscribe button. We're growing some numbers in size on the subscriptions. You know, we got the 1,000 followers on Instagram. Now we need the 1,000 followers on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a long way off.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Like, a lot of people have actually subscribed recently. We're up to like the 50s now. We would like to hit 100 before the year is out. So we got like 45 or so to go. I'm not sure exactly what the number is.
And you guys could help us out. But like we were saying, it's level 12 of 2020, and Biden's got his plus 10 powerboat.
Yeah.
So
I want to start off topic.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's level 12. So something going good for us for a change in 2020 is that the Giants are actually in first place in the NFC East. But it's not without bullshit because it's 2020, like we said. So I want to talk about something chapping my ass. I actually posted up a Facebook status about this. People cannot just let you enjoy anything anymore. So the Giants are in first place, but they're 4-7. Everybody knows the NFC East is terrible, and
really bad.
I understand.
Division.
I understand that the Giants don't have much of a shot to win the Super Bowl.
No.
But we sat through 8 fucking years of absolutely terrible football, and I have season tickets. I go to almost every single game that's home.
Yeah. We've
We've gone to a couple games on the road. We've sat through garbage for years.
Yeah.
So why can't people just let you enjoy a little happiness for once? They literally can't.
Because in the sports world, they look at the division as such a shitty division. But I was saying this to you earlier. Like the last time I was excited for Giants football in December, Victor Cruz only had 1 Super Bowl ring. Like he got his first Super Bowl ring. It's been a long time since. There was 1 year where we were maybe going to make. Did we make it to the playoffs
in 2016?
Yeah. Okay. So we can't even remember.
That was the game where Odell and everybody were on the cruise boat. Drinking and whatnot, and then they ended up playing the Packers, and they all shit the bed. All the guys who went on the cruise.
Yeah. Well, that's a BAU status.
Yeah. My biggest.
I gotta say though, I've enjoyed some of the memes. The gold trash bag one.
That's fine. that's fine. Those are funny memes. I would even share something like that. My biggest, I wanted to pick at was Fox Sports. They shared a meme that they made, and it's of Giants fans on like a low pedestal, and they're spraying champagne all over themselves. Like at least me and most Giants fans, we're not celebrating. We just won the Super Bowl. We're just excited we have something that's entertaining to watch, and it actually means something because we've watched so many football games that meant fucking nothing.
Dude,
absolutely nothing.
The amount of times we've gone to bars and watched the Giants get shit on. We've gone on the road and watched the Giants get shit on. We spent money sitting in a stadium in the freezing cold weather and watched the Giants get shit on. We've snuck down into the first.
Sorry, we're trying to figure out this new camera we got, which has a lot better
quality,
but quality image, but not quality working.
Yeah, aggravation.
Using an iPhone seems to be a little bit more reliable. But here we go again.
Good old Apple products.
What were we doing? We were
complaining about how people are shitting on the Giants. It's it's your typical sports. There's always going to be the haters out there.
Yeah.
You're never going to get away from it.
Just let people enjoy things.
Yeah,
that's my main.
I know.
Part.
We haven't had a good December in a long time.
So let's get back to beating the horse over the head here, as I like to say.
So I have something that's a little political that really just blew my head off when I was reading it. Apparently, Time Person of the Year. Their top 3 candidates are AOC, Andrew Cuomo, and Dr. Fauci. I can't I can't imagine how any one of these people are actually qualified to be People Person of the Year. The only one I will give it up to, AOC, no, not at all. If you really want to get my opinion on Cuomo, just listen to any one of our old episodes. It would be Fauci, because at least this man went to school for X number of years to become a doctor, and he's become such a good. Forget if he's corrupt or if he's an inside guy or whatever. He actually went and got a doctorate. It's the only person I could see that could qualify for this.
Yeah, I don't mean to shit on you here, but I don't even want to I don't even give a fuck about that. You know why? Because that, like, the person of the year from Time Magazine reminds me of an Emmy.
Yeah.
It's just elite people giving other elite people rewards. I don't even want to get upset or pay that kind of shit any. I'm not saying I'm not telling you. You know, I'm not trying to like discount what you're saying. But at the same time, fuck them. Who cares?
That's why we don't pay attention to it. But it blew my mind that like this is the best you could come up with for people of the year. Like, honestly, I think Como's gonna get it because I really truly believe between the Emmy and this, we're watching him get paid for killing all those people in the nursing home.
I'm sure at Time Magazine, the whole board of editors that chooses whatever is super liberal, so of course they're gonna give it to a liberal person, and round we go. You know, so whatever. Go ahead, you know, give you a little awards to whoever you want. Doesn't affect my life in any way.
Yeah, I had to get that out there. That was ridiculous to see that these morons are being picked for, you know, the cover of Time. But anyway, so, where do you want to start?
You know, I mean, there's not much to talk about in this, but Biden, you were saying before with his super boot or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so President-elect Biden, he fractured his foot playing with his dog.
Yep. And originally it was a sprain, and then it went to a fracture.
To be fair, this is a big fucking dog. I don't know if anybody's seen.
It's a German Shepherd or something.
Yeah, his name is Major, and he's bigger than Joe Biden, basically. And Joe Biden's like 900 years old. Those bones are pretty frail. So
I wonder. I just got to ask, what did he do to the dog for the dog to retaliate in this manner? He probably sniffed him. You know?
Maybe
he smelled good.
I don't think he bit him or anything. He was just playing with him. A big dog like that, dude.
It
you know, runs into you or something, or you fall. He probably ran into him. He fell and hurt himself. So you know,
either that or you know he's on his way out, and you know they gave him the boot.
Yeah,
metaphorically, they gave him the boot.
Maybe Kamala Harris, you know, put some blood or something.
Gone in a week, just never to be seen again.
With Joe Exotic, remember they said that. What did they say that someone put something on the bottom of Joe Exotic's boot, like blood
when the tiger attacked him, that they put some like spray or like some bacon grease or whatever on his boot that brought up interest.
Yeah,
and that's why the tiger started biting at him.
Maybe Kamala Harris did that.
You know what? She's done some sneakier things than that. So.
Oh man!
Fucking! I know who had a great laugh. My parents when I told them that Joe Biden broke his ankle. Really? They couldn't believe it.
I shared a while ago that meme of Kamala Harris like throwing him off a cliff in a wheelchair.
Yep.
And then I posted it again. I'm like, I didn't expect it to happen this soon. I mean, he didn't even get into the White House yet.
I know he's already getting fucking beat up and shit. Hey, maybe the same person who beat the shit out of Mitch McConnell came over and.
3, 2, 1. Okay, this is attempt number 3. We've switched back to our original recording method because nothing's ever easy for the two doomed men.
We are doomed as usual. So my final thing was I was going to say maybe the same person who beat the shit out of Mitch McConnell went over and fucked up Joe Biden.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Maybe.
Major pain.
Major pain. You know, them cocaine deals going awry. Let's talk about some shit that I wrote down here.
Yeah, go for it before this camera craps out.
Yeah, no, this one will be all right. I think we made this point on a recent episode that Biden's cabinet is very diverse, a lot of women, but a lot of progressives hate them. And if you're not aware what a progressive is, it's like most progressives are people that Trump supporters are most terrified of.
Yeah,
because they
that's
think
the most change.
Super, you know, socialist, this, that, whatever. So the cabinet is going to be very diverse. There's a lot of black and brown people, a lot of women, but most of them are all holdovers from the Obama administration. Yep. They're corporatists. They're war hawks. You know,
yeah, they're not progressive.
They're not
at
progressive.
all.
They're not progressive.
But this was like what I said to you the other day. This is, you know, like, remember when we were talking about how that guy on Joe Rogan was saying, like, corporations love just, you know, okay, we'll send our CEO to an ethics, you know, class on how to treat minorities and stuff. And we'll, you know, make our Facebook photo, you know, the gay pride flag or the BLM, and we solve the problem. It doesn't matter what we do behind the scenes because we fix this microaggression. So here it is in the Joe Biden administration. You're getting all women. This is so powerful. Yay. But we can't question who these women are. You know, you're saying they're all warmongers and, you know, corporate people. But what are they really going to do for the agenda that you voted. You wanted Trump out of office, fine. You had an agenda that you wanted. How are these people going to get you that agenda? They're not.
Yeah, and the strategy at the same time by the Democrats or the establishment Democrats is, this is the way it really is, right? They're putting these people in, especially women, because now you can't criticize them without being a sexist. Watch me. Right? So one of the recent appointees, her name is Neera Tanden, and Biden has appointed her to be the director of office management and budget. Why is this a problem, right? This woman, she was very critical the past couple of years of Bernie Sanders and progressives and people that think kind of like Bernie Sanders does in terms of the budget. She was also very critical and very outspoken in terms of the Russiagate, Trump saying that there was, like the whole thing is he's a Russian agent and stuff like that. So why this is funny is because they put her in this. They put her in charge of the director of the. She's basically going to be like the director of the budget in the president's cabinet, right? Bernie Sanders is the ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee, and he might be the future chair. So it means like the committee of Congress that works on the budget, Bernie's going to be like in charge of that committee. Good guy to have in charge of the committee, in my opinion, because he's always thought of reprioritizing the budget. Now they literally put in a woman who fucking hates Bernie to be the person he's going to liaison with.
Yeah. And we already know the establishment hates Bernie. So the second Bernie goes head to head with this woman, you're sexist. You're sexist.
Maybe it's basically a big fuck you to Bernie and whatnot after they already fucked him 2 times. And that's my biggest criticism of Bernie is that he didn't fight back hard enough. When if you're trying to lead a revolution, a political revolution, and you're trying to like fix the system, you can't play ball with these people because you played ball with them. Bernie played ball with them, in my opinion, probably because he thought he could push them on certain ideas to work with them. It ain't gonna work, bro. Look,
he should have learned that in 2016.
They're not only not putting in people that are kind of fitting your idea or your agenda, they're putting in people who hate you. And they're going to fight you tooth and nail almost on everything. Not only do they hate you, but they made fun of you. They were talking down to Bernie supporters and whatnot on Twitter.
We're going to get the Obama administration 2.0, and everything's going to go back to the status quo of Congress. It ain't going to help us. It ain't going to help the progressives. It ain't going to help the right-wing people. It's just going to be the status quo of the establishment.
What you have coming up here with the Biden presidency is you're going to have, obviously, conservatives, your diehard Trump supporters are going to absolutely hate
nitpick everything.
Biden as president. But
not my president.
You're also going to have progressives, Bernie bros, all those sorts of people. They also are going to hate a lot of shit now. They voted for Biden, a lot of them, because they hated Trump more. Yeah. But you're going to have a situation where a lot of people, almost like I'd say 60 to 70% of everyone, hate the president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was that the situation with Trump? Maybe. But Trump had, I'd say,
Trump increased his vote. Trump increased his vote by 10 million people this year.
Right. How many people voted for Trump in the popular vote? Like 75 million?
Oh, yeah, it was around let's say between like 72 to 74 million people. Yeah.
So let's say those 75 million people, let's just call
round it up,
like Trump, right? And then on the other side you had 80 million people allegedly voted for Joe Biden. Let's say
honestly, maybe 20 million of those people. We'll take Joe Biden's Twitter following of 20 million people. Yeah. Those are the 20 million that are probably
love Joe Biden, right? So let's add, what did I say, 75?
Yeah.
Plus the, 65?
It's going to be 60 million,
Right. Don't necessarily like Joe Biden. You have more than half of the people who voted. I don't know where everybody else stands because they didn't partake in the election. You should have. More than half of everybody who voted is not going to like the guy who's president. The system
there's no change coming. We're not building. Biden's whole thing was build back better. You're not building anything back better. Okay.
Well, we got to give him a chance, right? He's not actually in office yet. But,
right. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The route he's going.
Yeah.
He's basically like. Like when you replay like a video game, like Red Dead, you could be the good guy the whole time, or you could be the bad guy the whole time.
Right.
And then usually when you replay it, you play it as the other way around.
Yeah.
This is like we're playing the Obama game again, and we're just going to do the same thing we did the first time.
Yes. The way I see it so far is it's going to be just the Obama administration all over
without Obama. That's it.
Without him, right? He's on a speaking tour. He's trying to make some money here and there, and that's
make
ridiculous.
some money. I found online. I wasn't searching anything, but like a headline popped up, and it was like, check out Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's, mega mansion in Martha's Vineyard. Mm-hmm. It's on 30 acres of private property, beachfront property. First off, for a family who is so genuinely concerned about global warming and the climate crisis, you guys spent an awful lot of money on waterfront fucking property. Okay?
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
Yeah. And
not a good investment.
I don't know how much Michelle made off of her book, but I know Obama didn't make enough in office to buy this house. So this is really her house, to be honest with you.
Dude, there was a movie about them, right? And
they had a Netflix contract, and they're paying them just to
profit off the presidency just as much as Trump does. With it's like a brand builder being the president.
But definitely he didn't make that much money in the White House. But this house was. Insane, absolutely insane.
I'm sure it is. The bourgeoisie. They live a nice life. Well, us over here, we have to scrape by.
Recording in a basement when this guy's got an observatory.
Yeah, we're trying to get COVID tests here, and because I don't have health insurance because I lost my job recently, I got to worry about it. Am I going to be able to pay for it? Not. Luckily, that was something I want to talk about. Apparently, because of the situation I'm in, the CARES Act actually did cover me.
Oh, okay.
You know how they passed the CARES Act?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to take my recent COVID test, I didn't want to wait the full week, so I went for one of the rapid ones, which they you have to basically pay for, I guess, because it's new and like advanced, and it's like $200 and something.
Yeah, I saw that.
But they said, no, as long as you have a Connecticut state ID, they pass along the bill to pay for the CARES Act. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? Because it didn't make sense to me that the whole system, our healthcare system is fucked up. Right. It doesn't make any sense that we tie our health insurance to our employers, because if you lose your job, especially in the middle of a pandemic, when you need health insurance, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes sense. The whole system's fucked up, but that portion of it makes sense. However, I guess if you're an illegal alien in the country, you can't go the route that I did to go for the rapid test. Right. You'd have to go for the long one. That also throws a wrench in the whole thing, because they're still human beings that are here.
Yeah, that need to get tested and could be spreading.
And could be spreading the virus. It's not like the virus is going to pick and choose citizens or not.
The 1,000,001 tests that I've gone, I have seen, immigrants have a harder time showing up without any type of insurance. And it's always this standstill of this oh shit moment. What am I going to do? But like you're saying, you're in the country. There's a pandemic. You just give them the test. Fuck it at this point.
They definitely can get tested. Like, for example, the first time I went, it was a drive-up test, and it was no questions asked, just write your name down. But I had to wait hours for that one, and then the results took weeks. So you could kind of see that there's some sort of inequality in the system in regards to just the pandemic, I'd say. Yeah. If you're an illegal, your life's going to be harder to get tested for something that the government's pressing you on over, get tested. Do this, do that.
Well, it should be, at the end of the day, they shouldn't have been here. But I know now.
There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing we can do.
Late.
You're here now. Yeah.
Right. So just a weird thing. Let me go back real quick to Neera Tanden.
Mrs. Tanden.
Another thing you'll enjoy, that she was a big vocal proponent of the Steele dossier. Wasn't that?
Christopher Steele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why I bring it up is because Republicans are having a problem with her. Oh, she was a vocal proponent of this on. Oh,
she was for it, because that document was completely destroyed, and falsified.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure the Steele document was the start of the downfall to how Trump's not a Russian agent.
What? Yeah, but wasn't the dossier them building some sort of bogus evidence against him? Right. So she was saying, look at this dossier. Look at this dossier.
Oh, she was promoting it.
She's promoting it.
Yeah.
And Republicans are saying, look, everything she said on Twitter is anti-Trump and been very not fair. So I was watching Fox News before, and a lot of the left-wing commentators they have on here Republicans, are worried about what this woman says on Twitter. Look at what Trump says on Twitter. Like that doesn't take away from the fact that she says these things on Twitter. You're playing semantics. I get what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that this is probably the beliefs this woman has.
Yeah. And on top of it, the one thing that I've been like learning, sorry to cut you off though, the one thing that I've been learning in the past couple of weeks, listen, Joe Biden potentially is the president-elect. I kind of am leaning towards that he'd probably be inaugurated. We haven't really seen too much of this evidence that, you know, the Trump team has and shit. But if you believe Biden won and Trump's on his way out, what the fuck do you care anymore about what he's tweeting? Listen, you got 51 days until the Biden inauguration. If you truly believe Biden won the election, and by all means you're in the land of free, believe it. You know, I understand there's a court cases going on. I'm going to continue to follow that. And when Biden stands up there for inauguration and it's over, it's over. That's it. But if you really believe Biden is the president-elect, stop worrying about Trump. Just stop.
I agree. They're not going to, though.
No, because it's the only way. They're going to have a grace period of time to be able to use Trump to get any type of heat off of Biden and the administration.
Yeah, and at the same time, Trump sells. He sells, right? So the media is going to miss him a lot. So they're going to look for ways to keep talking about him. That's like damaging to our country, right? Because if the guy's out of office, he's out of office. Let's actually work now with
the
Biden,
person
right?
in office. Yeah.
One point I want to make, I just remembered, is do you remember when in 2016 how when Trump won, there were people who were literally like hoping the country he would fail.
Oh yeah, they wanted the country to go into full blown recession and shit. Yeah.
So the way I'm seeing it now is I didn't want Joe Biden to win, right? And if you're a Trump supporter, I agree with you, right? Like I don't blame you for not liking what's happening, but don't be those people who were in 2016 were rooting for the country to fail so that Trump could fail. I understand.
I
you're
hope
annoyed,
the ship
but,
I'm on sinks.
Right.
Yeah.
We should, you know, as much as it's gonna pain me to say this, we should be hoping Joe Biden does a great job and fixes all the problems for everyone. We could be critical, which we're going to do for the next 4 years if that's the case, but you should be hoping that things work out. We
Next
should never
6 months before Queen Kamala
rooting,
takes over.
Yeah, we should never be rooting against our team.
Yeah.
You know, we're still on the same team at the end of the day. So that's what I'm trying to say to Trump people out there. Like, yes, you want to fight this up until a point, fight it. But you know, don't be sour grapes when it's over.
It's the virus of identity politics. But I will be enjoying saying not my president. Just it was a fun time for them,
That's
so
fine.
I'm gonna have a good time with it too.
Yeah.
So we're into next.
Go?
You know, something that I noticed in my little note here. Kamala Harris hasn't left the Senate yet. If Joe Biden truly now. We always say how politicians have the inside track compared to what we have, and we're just two dummies sitting in a basement behind a wood table. So it's very odd that if she's so sure that Joe Biden is, you know, president-elect and she's vice president-elect, why does she still hold a seat in the Senate when Barack Obama won? Now, granted, there was no contested election or anything like that, but he left the Senate immediately.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very odd that she's still part of this. Does she see the writing on the wall? If Joe Biden does go down for election fraud, which if you know the Hail Mary miracle, she's going to go down too. So why are you still saving your job too? It's not like she's going to come out of this like unscathed either.
Oh, she will.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why she's holding on to her seat because if this doesn't work out and Biden does, you know, if the Hail Mary of Trump still going through the legal process and all this works. And Trump somehow wins the election, she wants to go back to her Senate seat. They don't want it to be vacated and then it goes up to a new election and then maybe they lose another seat to a Republican. Right. I don't know if that would be even the case. If I don't know how the process works, but
does she get?
You know what I'm saying? Like
to pick
if
who it is.
I'm saying if she gives up her seat now and then say some crazy shit happens where they actually lose the election, she doesn't get to go back to her seat. You know what I mean? Like
I think she would. I don't think she would come out of this unscathed. But but apparently, one or several of the people that is in consideration for her seat once she's gone have praised the communist leader of China. So that's pretty. the China virus. That's pretty interesting that we're just going to have, more people in there that are pro-China and, whatever. We can't, China is king.
We could go deep down the rabbit hole on that. But
all of it goes down the rabbit hole.
I really don't want to get into that stuff, but we will one day. The thing about, how the election is still contested.
Yes.
There is still stuff going on, and a lot of the shit I've been seeing lately has to do with, and I think me and you talked about this, the states, basically like the Republican legislatures telling the electoral voters or choosing them or some shit. I don't know exactly.
That I'm not sure of how that works, because that's very confusing to me. But to show what's going on, definitely check out Donald Trump's Twitter page. He's been obviously very vocal about these hearings and these court hearings. How do you OAN? What's that news network?
Some crazy. It sounds like I know what you're talking about. OAN.
Yeah. So OAN, it's a fringe news network that's been picking up a lot of steam on the internet. Yeah. And if you're interested in hearing about these election fraud court cases where Rudy Giuliani's running around and Sidney Powell's running around, OAN is the best place right now to probably get that type of news. And the one thing that I was finding out, we spoke about this morning, and you had a pretty good point too, but like what we're seeing now is all the state cases. And that's why they're talking about this legislator picking their own electorals, because I think if the case goes to court in the state, then like the votes might get flipped. You know what I'm saying? So like they need to pick new electors to cast the votes, I believe. But what Trump's really like goal here to do, every time you see one of these state cases get thrown out, don't cheer, because it's a great Democratic headline. Like Trump's case gets thrown out in Arizona, but he's just going to appeal it, and it's going to get a step closer to the federal court and to the Supreme Court. And Bush didn't win any state court hearings until he made it to the federal court. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be like Trump's end result.
There's a process, right, for electing the president. So the way I understand it, first of all, our popular vote, as we said before, doesn't mean jack shit. Yeah. Right? The electoral college are the people who really elect the president. So the way I understand it, vaguely, right, non-expert analysis here, is that apparently and Fareed Zakaria from CNN covered this, if anybody wants to look it up, right? Apparently if the states can prove, or like the Republican legislatures, anybody in the state, right, can prove to a certain extent that there was fuckery going on, they can somehow, the electoral college voters can just vote for whoever they want. They don't have to really follow the popular vote's guidance, because there was some sort of fuckery going on, right? And then on the other side, I'm hearing Trump's been talking to the electoral college voters and things like that. Like, there's just so many things going on. You can't just say that this is a settled election.
Right.
There's a lot of shit going on.
It's not.
I still think that at the end of the day, you're going to see Biden's going to win, because a lot of these things me and you have talked about, what frustrates me is there's always something coming. There's always something coming. Yeah. There's something around the corner. Release the Kraken. There's this, there's that. And then a week goes by and nothing's happened.
I know. And it's very frustrating. That's why when I was bringing this up, whether the state courts are corrupt or not, I don't know. It'd be hard to have every state, court corrupt
that's
as
what
well.
we were talking about before.
Yeah, that was the point you made. Yeah,
he was saying to me earlier in text that the state courts are corrupt, and that's why they want to push it through the federal government. But I'm like, every state court is corrupt.
But it's only several states. It's only
it's only several states. I know you're saying the swing states, but then at the same time, I know what you're saying, right? And Trump's goal is to get through the state courts and get to federal Supreme Court, where then he has the majority, right? Because he has,
and all those 300 judges he appointed will be the judges deciding this case.
And then ultimately the Supreme Court, where he nominated 3 of the justices. That's where it starts to get suspicious in the other way for me, right? Because now it seems, okay, maybe there was some credence to you ram through your Supreme Court justice in, foreseeing this situation happening, so that they'd side with you. I don't know if that's going to actually happen. Who knows that Amy Coney Barrett and the other guys will look at this and be like, no, he's wrong, and Biden won.
Yeah, it's strange.
I can't foresee that happening. I just can't.
know.
I just can't. I can't foresee, them siding against the guy who put them there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Everything is fucking
yeah,
bipartisan.
that's
right?
when you become a Supreme Court justice, you're supposed to be bipartisan. So
No, you're supposed to be.
I'm
Yeah, what's the word? Like you're supposed to just
yeah, you're supposed to be fair and
impartial.
Not, yeah,
Sorry.
impartial.
You're supposed to be
yeah.
impartial, but no one's impartial anymore besides
No.
us, basically. and this
And we get reamed out for it all the time.
Yeah.
We lose followers for being
Yeah,
impartial.
Fuck you guys.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and it's just the fact of the matter is that this election still is contested, and Arizona pulled some wild shit yesterday. So when you saw Rudy Giuliani in Pennsylvania, they halted the certification of the electoral votes upon further review, and that's when they had the hearing with Rudy Giuliani. So the same thing took place in Arizona. They halted the certification of the votes, and while the hearing was going on, they're like, "Nah, fuck it, we're going to certify it." Like they just pushed it through. Like, as if you're a Democrat and you want Trump out of office, and you've made this point several times now on this show, you should want your party and your chosen leader to prove that he did this the right way.
You should want this process to play out so that Joe
Yeah.
Biden could be 100% vindicated.
Yeah, and once he's vindicated, by all means, shit all over everyone.
Yeah.
Like, that's if he's vindicated, like, there's nothing left for any Trump supporter to say, so go hog wild. Like, you should want this to be done the correct way. And look, being a Trump supporter when Trump won and dealing with all this Russiagate was very annoying. It was a waste of time. You don't want to start off Joe Biden's presidency by this looming dark cloud of election fraud that they just rammed through and pushed everything through and rushed it so that he could get into office, on January 21st. Prove it. If you have nothing to hide, then just prove it. Amy Baron-Cohen said it the best. When she had her notepad, it's that famous picture of her like this.
She took no notes.
Yeah, and because when you're telling the truth, you don't need to remember anything. Joe Biden doesn't remember anything anyway, but, I mean, if he's telling the truth, it'll set you free.
Yeah, I like the point you made about this dark cloud over your presidency. You're right. There shouldn't be a dark cloud, but I don't think they really give a fuck. They don't really care. These politicians, regardless of what side,
of course they don't care.
They don't care for the most part what the public thinks. They just keep everything they do. They just keep ramming through without any giving a fuck about us whatsoever.
It's apparent in just the mayor or governor of Denver. Don't go on flights to see your family for Thanksgiving. All right, I got to go get a plane to catch to go see my family for Thanksgiving. None of them give a shit.
They don't.
None.
They don't. And I bet you they even know that some of these stories are going to come out afterwards. Fuck you.
Yeah.
These peasants ain't going to be able to do anything
Sitting there
about
drinking their 18-year-old scotch, laughing away.
They don't give a fuck. I want to talk real quick about what I showed you before. There was like a proposal for a new stimulus.
Oh, the $900 billion package?
This is very new, right? And there's rumors of a bipartisan crafted.
I think Mitch McConnell was talking about it today.
So bipartisan means that Republicans and Democrats came up with this together. And there's not a lot of details yet, but it's $900 billion. That is an absolutely insane amount of money. And the thing that made me laugh the most about it is there's no stimulus payment whatsoever.
Nothing for people.
Nothing, right? Is
there anything for businesses?
Yes. The businesses get, I think, $300 billion allocated to the PPP plan again, the payroll protection plan thing. Some of the money goes towards the vaccine distribution and whatnot. Okay. It's not.
Well, if the vaccine's going to be free, so you're going to need money there. Okay.
It's just this government, right? Republicans and Democrats don't care about the people. And you made the point of where are they getting this money?
Yeah,
right?
they're just printing it.
They're just printing it. They're just inventing this money, right? And that's not good either.
No.
So what I wanted to talk about with COVID real quick is I've kind of boiled COVID down, our disastrous situation here, to there's three things, right? Three problems that COVID presents, right? The first thing is the virus itself, right? It kills people. It's dangerous. It's put, like, humans in some sort of danger, right? So that's problem number one. Number two, we have decided to combat this primarily via shutdown, right? Don't interact don't go to work, close your businesses. That will prevent you from problem number one, which is death, right? And now problem number three is that our government is completely broken, and they're not able to like properly confront this problem, as we've seen.
No government in the world's been able to properly.
But ours has spectacularly failed on every level.
Are you surprised?
Right? So those are the three problems, right? Now I want to try and boil this down to forget about. Let's not think of it in terms of this huge country, this huge society, right? Let's boil it down to we're on the compound, right? And there's only 30 of us living there, and all of a sudden, this virus starts infecting 3 or 4 of us that live on the compound. Everybody else in the world is dead. It's like The Walking Dead, right? It's just us now.
Right.
This virus comes and we realize, holy shit, 3 or 4 of us are getting sick and they're highly infectious. What do we do? If we all said, all right, well, we have to stop, growing the food and going out hunting, we die.
Yeah, that affects everyone.
We would die within a few weeks because you can't just shut everything down. Like, you have to take some risk. Like, yes, there's going to be some risk of some of the people in our group are going to infect us. But if we all stop working together to plow the field, or me and you stop going out hunting, how are we going to eat?
Yeah.
Right? We're going to
how is anything going to get done?
We'll actually get weaker by having less stuff. So at the same time, right, the government in our situation would be us. We would be able to recognize, listen, there's a virus here, and it's putting us in danger, but we have to make the decision of how exactly are we going to confront this? Do we stop doing anything?
Yeah.
Or do we try and do what we need to do to survive and take precautions along the same time? That's how society should have confronted this problem. But they didn't. They're not thinking it like I'm trying to put it into simple terms.
So a simple term. Someone, another podcaster that I know, he's a professor. Great podcast, PAS Report, Political Analysis, and what does the S stand for?
I'm not sure.
Right. Well, we're good followers, I guess. Apparently, he had a much bigger job before he became a professor. And in one of his podcasts, I believe he said, like, he went over, these disaster reports, and he went over these scenarios of, like world-ending scenarios and stuff. And when there's a virus, you always quarantined the people who are sick and the people who are the most susceptible. You never quarantine everyone. Because like you're saying, break it down to 30 people. You got 10 hunters, 10 gardeners, and 10, laborers. If you shut it all down, there's no more food being brought in, there's no more food being grown, and there's no more work being done. The whole compound fails.
Right, and then you die.
Yeah.
Which is what you were scared of to begin with from the virus. So if you do that, you're going to lose. It's like you just give up without even putting up a fight. And
Biden can't wait to do it. That's the biggest issue I have with the idea of more lockdowns, because I said this on previous COVID episodes. You mean to tell me the government has all this money, all this technology, all this time to think about it and come up with a plan and do this and do that, and the best plan B you guys came up with was to do plan A again? That's
right. They had all these months.
We've learned so much about COVID. Trump actually got a vaccine coming out within the next 2-3 weeks, and the CDC is voting for who gets it first. How about everyone gets it first? I'm sure it's way more complex than just that. But
because it's not like they're going to make 300 million doses, right?
And just drop it out of the sky. But this is the best plan you have. Why is an economic why is the economy even on the table? If Trump ruined the economy by shutting it down, what do you imagine is going to happen when Biden has to shut down the economy?
Well, if Trump ruined the economy, imagine if this was Trump was leading the way, saying we have to shut down the economy to protect people. Democrats would be roasting him over saying he destroyed the economy by put people out of business, this and that, whatever, because they don't. Point number 3, the government is broken. They're not actually doing what needs to be done. Right. They're just playing games with each other.
They're not even doing what they're telling us to do.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Which is the biggest, most ridiculous thing. Like, listen, even if you're a corrupt leader, you still need to lead.
Lie. We're still gonna need to lie to
Yeah,
us.
yeah, you still. Well, yeah, I guess so. But like, you still need to lead. Like, there's no way you could tell us like, don't go outdoor dining, and then leave the press conference and go outdoor dining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Listen, make your millions under the table. I don't care. At least preach what you like. Practice what you preach.
Yeah.
Like, you have to.
Yeah, I just shared a news story of that today on our story.
Yes.
One of the somebody in Los Angeles was like, you know, in the government, the city of Los Angeles, huge vocal proponent of how dangerous outdoor dining is, and voted to stop outdoor dining.
Yeah.
Literally the same night she went out and did outdoor dining. The same night. You can't do that. You just can't do that. We've said that so many times.
Everything you said is now null and void. And for you to have the balls to like the mayor of Chicago or the governor of Chicago, whatever her name, whatever position she is, to say like, oh, I need to get my hair done because I'm the face of the city or the face of the state or whatever. Bullshit. You need to practice what you preach. And first off, you got the money. I don't understand why these politicians aren't just having barbers come to their house. No one would ever fucking know.
Right.
If I had, even if I wasn't a corrupt politician making $200,000 a year just by being in Congress, I think that's enough money to get my barber to come to my house.
They're not very clever.
No.
Yeah.
No. You know why? Because under the Trump administration, they actually had to work. For the past, 40, 50 years, they could just do whatever they want. And that's what you're going to get back with the Biden.
They haven't adapted yet.
Exactly. Like, they've been so used to for the past 20 years that they're like, oh, you can't wear a red shirt on Wednesday. And every Wednesday they're there with their red shirt on just dancing. Because nobody's ever going to do anything about it. And I got to say, social media is definitely a double-edged sword. It has fucked more people than it's helped them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the good things to social media, in my opinion.
Well,
right?
I'm saying it's fucked these politicians more than it's helped
But
them.
that's a good thing because it's a way to hold them accountable by skipping the media, which the media is giving you everything through a lens, everything through what they want you to hear.
Definitely.
This is actually a good time to transition to the next thing I wrote down here.
The Andrew Yang?
Yes.
Yang gang?
This has to
I actually like him more now that he's not running for president.
I hope he runs for president again, but this has to do with the media. So Andrew Yang has his own podcast. I mean, if you're familiar,
I
with
never
who he
listened to it.
I've listened to it here and there, and he spoke with an MSNBC producer. I forgot exactly what her name is, and she basically came out as a whistleblower in a way, and she confirmed to Andrew Yang that they were told on MSNBC to ignore certain Democratic candidates for president, including him, Andrew Yang.
I believe that.
And that was by company policy.
Because Joe Biden was the chosen one.
So there you go, right there. The media is doing that tenfold, right, on every tiny thing. They have an agenda. The way running for president should work is, here are the candidates, hear them out, and you make your decision. We're just gonna provide them the platform with which to reach you. But they throughout the primary process, they were keeping, they didn't want any exposure to get to Andrew Yang. They didn't want any exposure to get to Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah. And they did this to Bernie in 2016, but with Bernie this time, he already had like a big following, but they still they still hated him.
They fucked him on the political side.
Right. We need to wake up, right? Because you're seeing everything through that lens. There are good people that want to run for. We say all the time, "Where's the good leader? Where's the good leader?" There are good leaders.
They're just not being shown.
They're not being shown, and they're being crushed by this old system.
I said it 4 years ago. The second Trump won, I said the 2020 presidential candidate, without a doubt, will be Joe Biden. We've always called out the establishment on this show, and I just wrote down media-owned establishment. That's why these people don't get the coverage that they deserve. That's why we don't see these good leaders. That's why you only had to choose between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, a turd sandwich and a douchebag, or whatever the fuck the saying is from South Park.
The media is influencing you that way. They're showing you those things.
It's been like that for decades, probably.
And sadly, people don't, the masses, let's say, don't realize that. They're just whatever they're being fed, they're going with.
The media would have you believe that the Obama presidency was oh God, I can't think of the word. Was what do you call like when bad things happen? Scandal free. that the Obama administration was a scandal-free administration, look up Fast and Furious. Look up the Iranian cash deal. Scandal-free. Look up.
Look at the end how they spied on Trump's campaign, right?
Yeah. Let's see. You killed all of SEAL Team 6. You know what I mean? Like,
they bombed people, indiscriminally almost with drone bombings in the Middle East.
The most drone
that was
built the cages at the border. Like, and the media will have you believe scandal free.
But because those guys are on their team, they portray those things as, or they just ignore those things, or they portray them differently.
Yeah.
This had to be done in the name of national security, bombing innocent Muslim people in other countries.
Women and children and Doctors Without Borders.
You know what I mean? That's the way the media is just, it's the worst, and I can't stress this enough on the show. That's why you can't get around watching Fox News or CNN or whoever. You can't, because it's there, and it's one of the only ways to do it. But you have to go in realizing 99% of what these people say is absolute bullshit.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I said before. Check out OAN, and I think it's called the News Network. I know OAN is going to be right wing, but you got
its own dangers.
It does have its own dangers, but right now, the establishment doesn't own them. Yeah. For all we know, if Biden becomes president and Trump's out of the picture, maybe they might fairly, follow and represent what Joe Biden's doing. But at least it's a fringe network that is gaining steam that is not owned yet. Yeah. Or maybe it secretly is owned, and I don't know. Yeah.
The problem is that people get really hyped up for political stuff, before the election, and then after that, whatever. Like, they get fatigued political. I could even notice it in some of our numbers for some of the episodes, right? Leading up to the election, our podcast did great numbers, and then after that, I could tell people maybe are a little tired of politics because you just went through this stressful thing where they build you on vote or die, right? And now you're like, it's over. I don't want to hear, but I don't want to hear
the results
Chris and Skaggs anymore bitching about politics. But here's the thing: if you just forget about it after it's over, that's how your life, that's how our society continues to struggle.
That's why number 3, the government's broken.
Right.
Because
but it's also because people stop caring. Yeah. You can't just not care. You have to keep paying attention to stuff. You have to go and do some research. It sucks, right? How do I figure most of this shit out? How do you figure most of this shit? I fucking dig through Twitter, looking for hearing people's actual opinions. You have to go out and search for your own information.
If we were able to do this podcast for a full-time job, there would be whole days spent just doing the research.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's not easy.
Because it's not always fun stuff. I find my Q conspiracies, and I find things that piss me off, like the People Time thing. You find things that interest you, and you find interviews, but you still have to listen to that interview. You still have to read through it. It's not always sexy, fun stuff, and it gets boring. Yeah,
and that's why people don't give a fuck. Because people would rather be, go back to normal, be distracted by a football game, and then when you do, people shit on you for that too, because your team makes it into first place. We know, not sexy.
Yeah.
So
world of fuckery, pal. 2020. Do not underestimate any of it.
Level 12.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. So, what is your unbiased opinion of how the election is going to conclude 100%? What do you? I'm not saying what what do you think is going to happen?
I still don't know. I think it's going to get way worse, because let's just talk facts here and what we know about the players on the board. Okay, Joe Biden just hurt his foot. Whether it's real or not, I'm not saying it's not. He's going back into his basement. Joe Biden ain't going anywhere anytime soon, where he's going to disappear. Trump is an actual Trump train with no brakes. We know he's not going to concede. I can't, unless this all blows up in his face, I don't see him conceding until January 19th. That's just, it's not because I'm a Republican. Let's just take the facts of who Trump is.
Yeah.
He has a massive, powerful legal team. I can't imagine all these people are putting their lives and their reputations on the line over bullshit. So I think it's going to be a strange process. I think it's going to be like nothing we've ever seen before. I can't say for certain because I don't have any of the evidence that Trump's going to overturn all of this. Mm-hmm. But I think in the weeks coming, we might see a few things change and go in his favor that might be interesting to talk about and look at. It could be completely wrong, but then that's when it's going to get ugly. And even if the end result is Trump loses and Joe Biden wins, I think we're going to see it get uglier before it gets better, whichever way it ends.
Fair.
Because I think we're almost doing a sped up version of the first lockdown. The numbers of COVID are on the rise. Me and you are sick and tired of COVID already. I would love to burn down a building to fucking stop dealing with COVID right now.
Right. You know, we're sick and tired of having to deal with it, but at the same time, you know,
we're still living our lives.
We still live our lives, and we're still handling it responsibly. Yeah. We're not, you know, we're not going, you know, we're not like out spitting at people in the streets.
But that's just me and you and the few people we know.
Yeah, that's true.
We're almost refilling and refueling that powder keg with more lockdowns and take away the dining and take away the movies and take away the gym. And then we're just going to need that spark again to start the riots. And it might not be a white cop killing a black man. It might be Trump, you know, gaining. If he flips Pennsylvania, he still wouldn't have enough electoral votes to win, but people will lose their shit. And you will be allowed to go protest, and the protests are going to turn violent. And remember, we haven't talked about this in a long time. All those pallets of bricks that were showing up all over the place, those were put there. Yeah. So what's it to say again that like they're just stacking up bricks at the brick factory right now and just ready to ship them out? I think if anything changes, and I think it could, because I know Trump's not going to stop. And if his end goal is the federal court and they're going to hear it and evidence is going to be exposed, you're going to see turmoil.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't really thinking of it that way, so that was really interesting what you said.
But to be unbiased, like you got to pick and who are the players on the board right now. Giuliani's up there sweating away and fucking that was a crazy scene from him.
He was leaking brown water out of his hair.
But like his tanning guy isn't as good as Trump's guy.
I don't think it's tanning. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, when Giuliani was up there with the lights on, he was sweating and like brown streaks were coming down.
Either the coloring of his hair.
I was going to say, he probably just used Just for Men, and it didn't dry 100% yet, and then he starts sweating with those lights.
But you got to think, though, like if you've ever been on stage with like spotlights on you, extremely hot. I mean, I had to take off a sweatshirt before this podcast started. I have the heat on in the house.
Dude, Giuliani, he's having a rough go of it lately. Like, he's been thrust into the spotlight because of his position as this guy who's in charge of this, but like he had the Borat shit happen to him. Now he's sweating brown fucking water off his head. It's just like very embarrassing stuff.
Yeah, but isn't it funny that like it's so easy to like harp on him now just because he's like Trump's guy? Like if he just kept his mouth shut, like that Borat shit would have never even came out.
He's getting paid, you know, a top dollar, I'm sure.
For what he's doing. Listen, anybody who's out there right now, if you're a player on the board like I'm talking, you're getting paid one way or another. Except for Sidney Powell. Apparently she's all doing this for the justice of America. Yeah. Somebody's got to be paying her.
What you said before is really smart. Like, the first time around with the lockdowns, they definitely had an impact as to why people went so crazy and rioted. I'm talking about, like, psychologically. Like, if you take people's opportunity away, if you lock them up in their homes or you know, like, drastically change their lives. Yeah. People get frustrated, they get pent up, and
we already got Thanksgiving taken away from us.
Right, and they're looking for something to break, and then, you know, amplify that for communities that are already poor. You know, like for me, I'll be all right. You know, I have a nice house, nice land. I got things I could do to bide my time. I'm more willing to deal with this bullshit because I have a better situation. Yeah. As opposed to somebody
you're not locked in a one-bedroom cockroach-infested apartment
who lives, you know, in like the South Bronx. And it's a very poor situation, and it just sucks. Yeah. Every day just sucks, and they can't go out. And you know, and then they're fucking, you know, their supers knock on the door. You don't pay the rent, and they're just, you know, frustrated. And their whole life,
powder keg.
If it's like a black guy, and he's been, you know, people have been shitting on him his whole life, and then something happens, you know, like George Floyd, and they just fuck this, you know what I mean? Like, I get the frustration, I get it.
We said this at the beginning when the riots really took off. Yeah, like straight up, like you could have went into that crowd and been like, what's the name of the guy who the police officer killed for you to be looting this Walmart? I don't care. I got a TV. People, like, you know what I mean? Like, people are going to do it just to do it.
Right. It wasn't it wasn't so much of right. There's mob mentality of people wanting to
just fuck shit up.
And then there's people who are just mad and they just want to smash something because they feel like they've been fucked over for years. And like you said,
smashing shit.
The like being locked up, it amplifies that.
Yeah.
So you're right. Maybe this second round of locking up, they're saying what did they say? December
of what? What's the date?
I felt like New York City was like December 10th. They're going to go into like a full lockdown.
Oh well, the last episode, Trill said there was a rumor that it was happening today, December 1st, which it hasn't. But where was I just going to say with? But like, listen, COVID is real, and the virus is real, and the virus is dangerous. Everything that surrounds it, I question.
Yeah,
it's no coincidence. No coincidence. I don't believe the numbers. I believe the virus because we just had people. We just had a rough month with it. But it's no coincidence that I predicted this too. The second wave will be here just in time for the election. And here we are, weeks. What are we? Almost a month after the election, and COVID is through the roof. Whether the numbers are actually going up does not matter. The fear is going up,
right?
Okay, and we just spoke about how the media fucked somebody like Andrew Yang because MSN said company policy, Joe Biden's our guy, fuck the rest. It is no coincidence that the fear is going up right after the election.
Yeah.
All this shit happened with the election. It was questionable bullshit. We're the only two people. Well, I'm sure there's other people, but we're the only two people calling out that Joe Biden is, not technically fully the presidential elect, where everybody's already, why isn't he in the White House? America didn't buy this election right away. Fear of COVID. It's no coincidence that the media is pushing these numbers in this fear.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't lead into a civil war like we've said right now. It's still good.
To be honest with you, good. I think if riots did break out again, or if something not now, don't get me wrong, if a white cop kills a black person that's unarmed for no reason, please go protest. But I think if some type of Civil War-esque riot broke out before Trump's out, I think he would squash that with the National Guard or something. I don't think he would really allow these riots to go on again.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so, because you can't allow just like a lawless situation of violence, because in those, even if it's justified, right? In those situations, they're messy, and a lot of shit that's not justified happens.
Yeah.
Like
when the guy drove out of the Rolls-Royce dealership on Fifth Avenue, in the West Side.
I'm saying, like, even if people are protesting, that's great. But then comes a bad actor who starts a riot. And then within a riot, you get people who are angry and are in a mob mentality, maybe targeting someone who's completely innocent and has nothing to do with it. Like, why are we tolerating allowing situations to happen where people can indiscriminately cause violence against other people without it, like... Why
are we shutting down small businesses and then letting small businesses be burned to the ground during a riot?
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
The only thing that I'm truly worried about, and this is even as a Trump supporter, I don't support any candidate, any politician, and if someone like Cuomo or someone did it, I would be armed to the teeth. I do not support any politician declaring martial law, because then you lose all your rights, and all of your rights are suspended during martial law.
Yeah, when would they give that up?
Yeah, I know, but I think that's like where it would be, like with these. I think, like I said, it's going to get uglier before it gets better.
Yeah. At the same time, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, you can't just allow lawlessness.
I know.
The way I like to look at it is, I think Joe Rogan made this point, is, our tax dollars that we pay for the police department, which is supposed to be there to protect, like, the functioning of our society from breaking down to, like, going back to, like, the times where barbarians were just attacking each other. If they're not going to do that, and no fault to their police officers, but if, like...
They're not going to be allowed to do that.
If, like, by policy, structurally, they're not going to be able to uphold this, like, the structure of our society, then what the fuck are we paying the taxes for? Give me my fucking money back. I'll go use the money to buy guns, and I'll just dig in my home and protect myself, because if I can't... There's a social contract that you sign with your government, with your society, if they're not going to hold up their end of the bargain, then I'm not going to give them the money for the contract.
Number 3, government's broken.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's a pathetic truth. Where else you want to go? You want to do your last note?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah, I didn't even read this one, but I just saw the first sentence.
You know, leading up to this is going to be critical of conservatives and Trump people, right? Because leading up to the election, Trump and Don Jr. and Fox and all these conservative talking heads were crying wolf over Biden's going to put all these socialists in. He's going to put Omar and Biden in, and they're going to
he snubbed them all.
And they're going to just overwhelm it. It's going to be like Venezuela, right? How many times did shit like that get brought up and mentioned? To my Trump people out there, you got nothing to worry about. There ain't no socialism coming because, like I said earlier, Biden is putting in all corporatists who are going to, just keep the status quo going, big business, the only socialism, my note says here, that's going to be happening is corporate socialism. Yeah. And y'all don't even pay attention to that or care about that whatsoever.
How we could just, bail out.
That's the only socialism that's
business
coming.
Again.
We already covered it before. There's no stimulus money coming to anybody. That's what Trump people would consider socialism, right? The money's all going to corporations. So don't worry, Trump people, ain't no socialism coming. Nothing good's coming.
Yeah, because amazingly, Joe Biden didn't uphold his end of being a progressive leader. Shocking, he already broke a promise before he's not even president.
Yeah,
but
hold him to it.
A funny thing, since you've talked about all these war hawks and warmongering, CEOs and shit, a lot of the message boards, and I'm not going to go on some big Q conspiracy or anything like that, but a lot of the message boards predict that if Trump gets out of office and Biden goes in, the 4 years of peace is over. We will be back in another war. There will be a boogeyman and there will be a war. There will be an incident where something happens in some, bumblefuck end of, the Middle East and another war.
It's going to happen, and you just reminded me of the woman, of course, who Biden chose for, I believe, the Secretary of Defense. She was giving a speech. I don't know if this was recently, but it was definitely recently. And she was saying how the argument that some Americans make of why do we have to be involved in situations around.
Didn't you post something about this?
Yes, I might have. And she was saying, why do we have to, there's an argument Americans make, right? Me and you, I think, are on the same page. It's like, I don't want to be involved in the problems going on in the Middle East.
Policing the world.
Police the world. I don't want to be pressuring Kim Jong-un, as bad as he is, to change anything, right? Or to behave a certain way. It's not our job. She's saying those are, like, I don't care that the public doesn't think that way. This is what we have to do in order to maintain our, peace in the world.
We put her there, but we don't. They don't care what we got.
First of all, she's a woman, so you can't criticize her, right? Mm-hmm. Second of all, she's just dressing it up as saying, this is a threat to our national security.
We're Mandalorians now. This is the way.
And I don't know. Can we try to not break anyone else's balls around the world? Let's try it for 4 years.
Well, Trump scared everybody, but he didn't really. He increased tariffs where, tariffs needed to be increased. He got people to pay, which for some reason is such a bad thing that people are paying their fair share, but whatever. And yes, Trump didn't start any wars because of the fear that other leaders had of him. But, that's working. Maybe Biden should just be aggressive then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what I mean is, I'm not saying, look, we should be strong, right?
Yeah.
I like to think of it as a way that, I believe it's Teddy Roosevelt said, it's like, speak softly and carry a big stick. Yep. What does that mean? It means, you should talk nice to people, but you do so with a big revolver on your hip and an AR-15 strapped over your back. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean, if something doesn't go your way because, this dictator has control of this oil field, you now send in the military and dress it up as, we're bringing freedom to this place,
place that doesn't want this type of freedom.
Most of the times, those situations turn out even worse than they were before.
And then we start drone bombing people.
You should watch it. I just watched on Netflix this new movie that came out. It's called Mosul, and it's about this SWAT team in Iraq, in the city of Mosul, and they're fighting against ISIS. Mm-hmm. And it was really fucking good. High production value. It was all subtitles, so if you're not into that, I wouldn't suggest it. But it just shows how the guys who are on the SWAT team, they're just good Iraqi guys, right? Who didn't want this whole situation that came to their country.
And now they're stuck in this
and
shit.
blew the fucking place up,
Yeah.
right? And now they're stuck having to deal with, here's these psychopaths from ISIS that they're fighting back against.
Yeah.
And
Wouldn't it be something if Biden gets into office and ISIS is just
Comes
on the
back.
rise again?
But it was just really eye-opening to me. It's because, like, we kind of created that situation. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we agree ISIS is bad, and we're kind of on these guys' side, but at the same time, they wouldn't be dealing with this
Right.
if we hadn't gone there. And there was the one character in it. He was like the main captain of the SWAT team, and everywhere he went in this movie, he kept like picking up trash people kept throwing on the ground. And someone asked him, he's like, "This is my home."
Yeah.
He's like, you know, he's fighting a war where the city's blown up to shit, but he keeps picking up garbage and throwing it in garbage cans. He's like,
Still
this
has
is where
pride.
I live. After this is over, who's going to have to clean this up?
Yeah.
Us, the people who live in Mosul. Like us Iraqis are going to have to clean it up. It was just very, like, it stood out to me a lot. It was a good
Interesting.
movie. It's called Mosul on Netflix. Check it out.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
anything else to add?
I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
All right, everybody. Doom Nation, thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate it. Please reach out to us, comment, subscribe, do what you got to do. We love hearing from you guys. So, as always, my spiel, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at 2 Doom Men, and Instagram is at 2 Doom Men _podcast. And you could hear us, as always, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and you can watch us on YouTube. Please subscribe. We're trying to reach our goal. And other than that, Doom Nation, thank you. We got some off-topic episodes in the work, maybe a little Christmas special. So if you like the Halloween special, this one might be right up your alley. And as always, we are now in level 12 of 2020, so be prepared, people.
Yep. Be safe. See you later.
Peace.